ana maka chono o madwin mu pon say ye ma aban yi ho nto no da kopem tama mama ebefi so
asempa nti wa wo hwe kasamfo yi obehu ma ekoso ha adwene yi mesenti nti ad hoc committee eti ensem no so a omotutu nkofo ano hwe kwan a obedi yi atu yi sa na ema ni sibiom
look at that
misbehave no my enti ho ensem ni bi na ne wi na yi hu wo TVXYZ nti ya enu na bi sa na ema ni na e bi aba akwa say minority no
no the thing is Ken bibia wo ye bia no utro history o ade bia AC bia utro abakosem e de ato and san ye man nyina ya abakosem de man bibia amanyoko no eya no mo wura fi omo ho bibia wo ye ye tro history de ato enti say the Excellency John Dramani Mahama so hwe the political career. They say Yeboboso Chirewa from assemblyman to MP to deputy minister to vice president to president. 8 years. No see in the Fourth Republic, it will take a very long time as soon as our record will be okay. What did they make a choice here? It's your history no more chrono. Said the omochro 8 years ago, I came now omochro ahochre. Womochro eniema emwa man Ghana na ede animguase ede ahochire ede eniema ensem fataba man no Ghana fo atworo ato ho na omo guso hwe womo etinka sabre yi anka mama man na ate ahwe atofom no woman no ate ahwe anka atofom no this time around no na anka mo homoden ewo eye mmase bedwam se anka mo betoto mo niema yie na anka the very next time Ghana fo we say oh say the omakoshisho money ye but it seems say lose na MPP for lose na kasakro omonyi ntumu ye enti no ma ye say oh ye pe ne ye beye ensema ye pe ana ye beka
I am konkotie mekoso ni bimra
okay I know much now say I think it's on my bank no sabe there ye ko na afi yakwa fa dwumadi no na ya hwese de ni ma besi fa ko akwatena se a aro committee no o ma sha se a ye ba bebi sa ye toto na no da no asem esi e wo breko na vetting e koso no ono so said you hu no said ye wo ho no na dance die ewo mu ono so fa memetugwa na afei nsem e koso no ye hunu nia e free no a e ba ye je ono bo cha asasiedu e na atena se no na enche bia no na afei ye kona nsem no said ye e kro na omototo na no afa no wono so etimide na no disem aba because asem e bai no eyade a enye mrasebedwam fo kra na ha mu eye Ghana nyina mrasebedwam eye Ghana man nyina enye baabi ba ko pe se bia nipa ba ko bia na mie no bi ebisa wo hwe aba yeto na 270 76 constituency no eye Ghana fo anewom ana omo to aba no edema these various members of parliament say woman nko na hyebedwam na afi woman nko ko hyemra woman nko pre niema ebetimi de mpuntuo ene niema pa etimi aba o masesene mu
for a vetting on the said date.
So SDA na wo se Ghana fo hunu ekwan ben na fa so asa basabaso ye ni siye ede ne ba ye eye de nkra na ma ne hyase ne yen yate na ye hunu bi ni se eda sa eye siye okay yenko na yenko fa
she gave us 4 p.m. and around the time I think the Honorable Sam George, if I'm right. So I was monitoring proceedings from my office. So I recall I came through this door and the place was packed. And I was offered a seat to my left, precisely behind the Honorable Member for Pusiga, Honorable Ladi, waiting for my regional minister nominee to take her turn. So we were all there, and after the vetting of the transport minister nominee, we're preparing to see. I actually didn't know the order, so we were preparing to see if my regional minister could take her turn. And I heard, we are tired, it's not happening. Not today. So I didn't know who and where it was coming from because of the position of my seat. So I got up and I found out it was the Honorable Osahene Afenyo Maken. So the minority members in the room came together. We are not continuing unless tomorrow. And some of the majority members in the room also supported from the other side that we'll continue on if any one of you side, the person can take his or her leave. So I joined with the exchanges that we are going to do it because by then 2 VIP buses had come from my region, and which has about 11 of my constituency officers. So in all, I was praying for the vetting to happen so they can go back to the region. When the exchanges are going on, I was still monitoring the minority. So I saw the minority whip, Honorable Anodompre, saying something to Honorable Jerry, the Wejabawe MP. Actually, because of the nature of the room and the noise, I didn't hear precisely what was said to him. So the Honorable Member for Wejabawe, Honorable Jerry, came behind the cameras to where Honorable Akando was seated. So I was like, what's happening? Because it wasn't his position. So I quickly rushed to see what he was up to or what has brought him to that position. When I got to the position of Honorable Akando, within some few minutes, Honorable Jerry left to his original position. And again, I heard monitoring cable, no, push the table away, it's not happening. And I saw the Honorable Member for Peru West, Honorable Imran Kofi Intekuni, trying to push the table back with the consoles and the mic and others, and he was alone. And there were about 4 pushing it, and then Honorable Emmanuel Intekuni trying to push it back. So I realized I needed to support the table, the consoles, and the mics from being destroyed. So I left my position and got to the table and supported him. Unfortunately, they overpowered us and they were able to...
You are using they. Can you tell this committee who they are? They overpowered us. Who are those who overpowered you?
Honorable Chairman, I saw the minority chief whip. I saw Honorable Jerry and two other members. I don't know their name. Yeah, so Honorable Chair, this is what happened.
In the video, we realized that you moved from here to where Honorable Akanda, we saw you with Honorable Akanda, you saw it yourself.
Yes.
And then later part of the video, you moved to this side, and that was when you wanted to help Honorable Emmanuel Nkunidi, right? Ntekuni, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you heard or saw Honorable Minority Whip whispering or telling Honorable Jerry to move, what in your mind, what do you think he was telling him to do before he moved from here to that place?
Honorable Chairman, as I said, because of the noise and the atmosphere of the room, I didn't hear precisely what was said to him. But I was monitoring what was happening. So I monitored him from that point to where Honorable Akando was seated.
Honorable Bid.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Honorable Asiedu, so what operated in your mind before you moved to Akando's place? What was in your mind when you moved, before you moved to Akando's place?
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. Because I saw the Honorable Minority Whip saying something to Honorable Jerry. As I've indicated earlier, I didn't hear what was said to him. But I was like, how? Why is he coming here? Because this is not his position. And by then, Honorable Akando was with the Bible and the oath. So I only came around to see if anything untoward come up. At least we can protect our Honorable Minister nominee.
Thank you. So you actually went there to protect Honorable Akando in case harm was going to befall him.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Now, when Jerry went back to his place, you realized that Honorable Akando was safe. And so then you saw that there was some bit of commotion at the place where Jerry went to. And you decided to move there too. Why didn't you continue to stay at Akando's place and you decided to move there?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Because I had come closer to Honorable Akando because of Honorable Jerry, and he left. And so I felt Honorable Akando was safe. And even by then, there were some other majority members who also came around. So that was the reason I left to also support Honorable Emmanuel Ntekuni.
Okay, so when you came around, did you saw that the minority whip had whispered something into the ears of Jerry, and probably that's the reason why he was acting the way he was acting. Did anybody in your leadership also ask you to do anything, or you just did everything on your own?
Honorable Chairman, I did it on my own.
Finally, so when you decided to carry out the exercise that you did, what was it intended to achieve?
To protect public property. That was when I moved to protect the consoles and the mic, and then moving to Honorable Akando to also make sure a colleague is safe. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable, I want to find out when you decided to go to the Honorable Ministers to defend or to protect him, did we have the security people around at that time?
Honestly, I didn't see anyone. Maybe they were around, but because of how the room and the nature of the place, I didn't see anyone with him.
So that will be all for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Just for the record, Honorable Member, are you a member of the Appointments Committee?
No, please.
You mentioned that 2 VIP buses came from your region and you had executives on the buses. Did you personally invite anyone to attend the vetting?
No, please.
When you rushed over to the table in question, did you actually see how the table lost its 2 legs?
Yes.
Would you care to describe what you remember, please?
So I got there at a point where the Honorable Jerry, the Honorable Minority Whip, were pushing it towards the direction of Honorable Intekuni. In fact, I didn't take time to analyze actually what was around. I got there with the mindset to protect the table and the consoles.
So just to reiterate, you do not recall how the table lost its legs. I'm just trying to ascertain, did you or did you not see?
I did. Maybe I'm not getting the question right.
I'm asking whether you saw the process by which the table lost 2 of its legs.
Not really.
Thank you. And my final question is, do you actually know the security personnel in Parliament by face?
Yes, two of them, because they took us through the orientation.
You're referring to the marshals, is it?
Yes, sir.
But are you familiar with all of the identities of the security personnel?
No.
Thank you.
I just want to find out whether the numbers that we saw on the minority side increase because of the incident. Other people, other members of Parliament entered because of the scaffold that happened at that time. All those people were around from the beginning to when the scaffold started.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, when I got in when the Honorable Minister nominee for Transport was taking his vetting, the room was already packed. So I can't really tell whether or not others came in again.
Well, Charles, it looks like that's all for now. But I have one question for you. I saw you making some gestures and shouting. Can you tell us exactly what you were saying?
Yes, I was saying if anyone is tired, the person can leave for the processes to continue.
are you the chairman of the committee to say, do you have that power to ask a colleague that if you are not interested, you should leave?
No, Mr. Chairman.
So why did you say that?
Because I felt it was a deliberate action to either delay the processes or to reschedule until the next day.
You know, there's a saying that two wrongs doesn't make a right. And so if you, in your mind, you think that they were wrong, they can walk away. And you're also shouting on them. Are you not infuriating the minority the more? That has caused this disturbances and breaking of chairs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. They were already shouting on top of their voices. So the shouting, the argument, and those other ones were already happening.
Okay. We don't have any question for you. Thank you for attending upon this committee. If there are any other issues too, we'll get back to you. You are discharged.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We want to take our next witness, the Chief Whip of the majority side. We'll be watching exclusive video of him. And so we want him to watch the video first before he takes the oath. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can we have the Honorable Majority Chief Whip? The Speaker would like to meet them, so if we can.
I, Roxanne Nelson, H.A. Kwame Dapamapo,
Swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the
So
truth.
help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much, Honorable Roxanne Kwame Nelson Eche Dapamekbo, the Majority Chief Whip of Ghana's Parliament, for attending upon this committee. Honorable Chief Whip, you've just watched a video. We saw a gentleman in the African Batakari, and I also saw a policeman holding the hand of that gentleman. And we also saw the gentleman and another honorable member, holding each other's throat, dresses. Can you confirm whether it's the same person who is sitting before us today?
Chairman, your narration is accurate.
The video that you just watched came from different sources. We invited an expert from Signal Bureau to authenticate it, and he agreed that they were all original. Can you also confirm that that video was original and it's not been dotted?
Chairman, I don't have the competence to do that, but I think that the videos depicted the events as they took place that day.
Honorable Chief Whip, can you tell this committee what really happened on that day?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Chairman, let me take the committee a bit back. Having joined the Appointments Committee by virtue of my status, the committee plans its activities ahead. So that, for instance, if the committee were to conduct vetting from Monday to Friday or Saturday, the scheduling were done the week before. So regarding the week and the Thursday and Friday in question, the scheduling had been done the week earlier. So that Monday we knew who and who were appearing before us. So it was for Tuesday and Wednesday. But sometime on Tuesday, something happened, and that was our colleagues on the other side raised an issue regarding lawyer Baker Vomal, to the effect that he had made some social media posts that were contumacious of the powers of the committee, and therefore were deemed to be contemptuous of Parliament and by extension the committee. So action needed to be taken. So by and large, they even intimated that Tuesday's hearing be truncated. But I stood my grounds and said we needed to go through that day's work, and that the next day, which was to be Wednesday, we could tackle the matter. So what we did was that after Tuesday's meeting, proceedings, as it were, we met, and they simply won't let us do any work the Wednesday. They were only interested in getting Vomal to appear before us. So Vomal had to appear on Wednesday. So if you recall, Chairman had to make the announcement at the tail end of Tuesdays. We had reached some preliminary understanding in between the hearings on Tuesday. So that announcement was made. So Wednesday, Vomal appeared with his lawyers, and we went through the motion of interrogating the matter. At a point, I had to go to handle business on the floor. So, because my leader, Honorable Ayariga, had some other matters to attend to, so I was needed on the floor. But by and large, interrogating Vomao and the issues that were germane to the matters that came before the committee didn't last beyond 2 hours. And so I was asking my counterpart that, you see, this process, we all anticipated that it was not going to take long, so we ought to have done some work, but we had lost the day. So obviously, Wednesday's workload will have to be taken to Thursday, the day after the Wednesday. And if we couldn't handle them, then we would have shared it between Thursday and the Friday. So when we agreed in the evening of Wednesday was that we'll take the outstandings from Wednesday first on Thursday. Meanwhile, Thursday's schedule was very heavy. We had to vet 6 nominees on Thursday. So if we were adding 3 from Wednesday, it means for Thursday, we were dealing with 9 nominees, and that was absolutely huge. So the clerk to the committee was instructed to prepare the new schedule for Thursday and Friday. And she brought a draft to me in the chamber. When I saw the new schedule brought by the clerk, Thursday now had 8, and Friday had 9. So I actually took the trouble to number the nominees. That was how come I could quickly tell that we had 8 for Thursday and 9 for Friday. Then I advised that there was no way we were going to complete the 15 nominees. That would be 15, isn't it? 8 plus 9. No, that's 17. There was no way we were going to complete them between Thursday and Friday. So we should consider working on a Saturday. No, that one it was not accepted at all. So the indication was that let's handle the business as and when it comes. At the end of Friday, we'll know what to do. So we agreed to start work early on Thursday. Now, so we began work on Thursday, and we did the vetting. We did 1, 2, 3, 4. But in the morning of the Thursday, some intimations came from the Honorable Minority Leader to the First Deputy Speaker, the chairman of the committee, to the effect that they were willing to take Honorable Akando early. So they were willing to add him to the early business for Thursday. Meanwhile, as the majority chief whip, my focus has been ensuring that we were to vet as many as we could out of the numbers outstanding for Thursday. Now, they said that we couldn't work beyond 4. I said, no. Already we had a backlog from Wednesday. So if they were insisting on doing just 4, then it means that we were also going to waste Thursday. We're not going to tackle Thursday's original business. And so I brought this matter into focus. And that was the Honorable Kujeto and the Honorable Sam George had prayed, had practically begged to be heard the Monday before. But the schedule couldn't accommodate them. The chairman was very clear with me that he had already agreed with Rankin and his team. So there was no way he would tamper with the schedule by adding to the load. And so it was Tuesday. So the Honorable Kujeto had to resign himself to his fate to be vetted on Thursday. So was Sam George. And these were persons who had, from all indications, done some protocol arrangements. You know, they are massive following, chiefs and all that coming all over. But chairman won't have it. Nobody was willing to accommodate them earlier. So they were prepared to be vetted on Thursday. Only for Thursday, after vetting 1, 2, 3, for our brothers to indicate that they were most unwilling to continue with work. But Chairman, you are more senior to me in this house. But the protocols and the practices are that where a caucus constituting part of a committee are in disagreement with the position of the committee's work or direction, you make your reservations known and then you walk away. You can, even by our standing orders, we are permitted to file minority reports on some of these matters. So you could file those reports and make your views known strongly as part of the final report that would have gone to plenary. But they won't have it. And they insisted on staying and disrupting the process. So if you saw, I think it was after we had done with the Honorable Kofi Adams, if I recall. So I asked that, I think I may be missing the sequence now. But it was after I asked the Honorable Akando. After Nikwe, thank you. So after Nikwe was done with, I directed that the next nominee, which was the Honorable Akando, I believe, to take the seat. In taking the seat, just exactly.
Chief Whip, was Honorable Akando originally slated for Thursday? Was it part of the list?
That is so. In fact, I mentioned earlier that the Honorable Minority Leader gave indication by a phone call. He actually placed a phone call to the chairman of the committee that they want to take Honorable Akando early. In fact, they were willing to take him as part of that day's business, so to speak. So Honorable Akando, there was no problem regarding taking him for the day.
No, we just want it on record.
Yes, yes.
Honorable Akando's name was on the list.
He was. He was.
So we have a list from Honorable.
Honorable Chief Whip, let us get it clear, because we have had earlier evidence to the effect that Honorable Akando was not part of the Thursday list. And please, until the Thursday list was for 3 people. Then you recompiled your list. That's the question that the chairman wanted to know. Whether originally Akando was part of the Thursday list until you had to do a reshuffle, a rearrangement, and you then brought him. And it was on the prompting of the minority chief whip who stated that they now wanted to take Akando early. And that's how Akando found himself in the Thursday list. This is what he wants to clear. Thank you.
Chairman, yes, that was the earlier sequence. I mentioned that because of loading the Wednesday's outstandings onto the other outstanding work that we had, the schedule kept changing. So initially in the morning, after we had dealt with Vomao that Wednesday morning, the new schedule that came to me had Akando for Thursday as part of the tall chain of nominees we had for Thursday and the tall chain of nominees we had for Friday. Then later in the day, some shifting again happened. So eventually, Akando got shifted to Friday. But a call came again from the minority chief whip, minority leader himself, that they were willing to take Akando as part of the Thursday's business and also take him early. I recall this very well. So, yes, we may have...
Honorable Leader,
yes.
In fact, what you just said, the chairman also confirmed same.
Yeah.
But our difficulty is that you have a schedule.
Yeah.
And then a minority leader decided that, oh, even though we have this schedule, we can allow Honorable Akanda to be vetted, but not the rest of those who are on the list. That's our worry.
No. You see, Chairman, let's place these matters in context. They were not saying that we won't vet the rest of the people. What I speak of is that the prioritization, whether a candle will be vetted last for the day or vetted early enough in the day, is what I speak of. The change of mind occurred. The change of mind occurred in the evening. In the evening, I don't know what happened. I don't know. They went to a caucus. You know, that Thursday morning, they had some early press conference and called me all sorts of names that I was bullying them and all that. But I was, as the chief whip, I was minded to get my businesses done and on time. So my focus was getting my people to line up as and when it was necessary to call them. So the change of mind came in the evening, to be very honest with you, because we were working. But when it got to the evening, they just decided that they won't let us continue, even though as a committee or as a committee of parliament, we worked till sometimes midnight, sometimes the wee hours of the following day. We do it all the time, given the exigencies of the time. So I got worried that out of the blue, a decision is being made to not vet persons we had programmed the entire week. In fact, we had programmed the week before, who even pleaded to be heard earlier in the week, but we refused. And then the minority on the committee would just say that we won't hear you today. Go and come tomorrow. When they are done, we have made protocol arrangements and all. So, Chairman, you can understand. So it posed a problem for me. All efforts to get them to disengage from that position failed. And they are lined up this way. They have brought in more men, more colleagues. And if you saw from the videos, I had tried as much as possible to get my members to remain calm. But I was roving. When Akanda took his seat, suddenly he was swamped. So I came to stand by him to ensure that he got sworn in and made ready for the proceedings to kickstart. Then Charles came to support me. And then, yes, Jerry came and Charles came to support me, as it were. He stood by his right-hand side, if I recall. And I was this way, trying to get the clerk to get him sworn in. Then Jerry left. Jerry Shaib went back. Then I saw Charles in a tango with the Honorable Tampuri. Tampuri, yes, that's my brother's name. And there was a crack in the first table. It's been pulled apart. So there was a big crack in between the first table and the second. And because of that opening, Charles got trapped in there. And I saw his back. I was looking at his back. And Tampuri was over him. And then...
Sorry, Honorable Chief Whip, can you specify? There are two different Charleses on this.
Charles Asidu,
very well.
my brother who just took the seat. So, and Tampuri is heavier, is much heavier set than Charles. And given the situation I saw that he was in, if I hadn't rushed to rescue him from the grip, I don't know what would have happened. Because the table was firmly in place and he had his back against it, and Tampuri was over him. And so I went to extricate him from his grip. That was how come I entered the fray. And I got my fugu entangled in the fray, and I was asking, we are brothers, we are lawyers, we are custodians, we don't do this. If you disagree with the proceedings, well, brother, you walk. they don't disrupt the proceedings. Then, as if he woke up, he looked at me with a smile and let go of the fugu. Then Bauer, that's the deputy marshal, then he and his men had come in. So I was saying that we are trying to bring the situation under control, but Bauer, you can tell these are the troublemakers, so let them go. And then the policeman was also trying to help me. So he held my hand and was trying to extricate me from the grip and so that I could leave the place. But these were things happening very fluidly, and a lot of arguments were flying all over the place. So that was what happened. And so eventually you saw my leader also trying to say that, Rock, these people don't listen to you. Leave them. Let's see how we can get the evening over. Then we can go home and come back the next day.
In our meeting, we realized that, and you were deeply involved as a member of parliament, not only heckling, but there was physical contact with Tampuri. He held your dress, you also held his dress. That's what we saw. Can you confirm whether you also, held his dress?
I don't recall ever holding his dress at all. It would have led to, because I'm also strong enough. If I had held his dress, it would have led to something. But I had my two hands up. He had the front of my fugu this way, and I had my hands up, and I was exchanging. That was when I was telling him, "Oh, bro, why do you want us to fight over this? We are lawyers, we are custodians, we don't do this." Trying to reach out to him, his deepest recesses, and eventually he smiled and let go of the fugu.
Thank you. Okay.
I felt my fugu held from like two different places. I think the front himself and somebody tagging at it from behind, but I couldn't tell who it was. Yeah.
Yes, so leader, we saw the video and we saw you move to that place. I want to find out from you, you did not go there to fight?
At all. I was never interested in, because if I initiate anything, I'll lose my opportunity to have my proceedings continued. So I was interested in having order restored. I went there, when I left Akando's site, I went there just to rescue Asiedu. It was to get Asiedu out of the grip of Tampuri, and then where he was trapped, practically.
From the video that we saw and the commentary that is around that particular video, it appeared that there was fighting between you and then Tampuli. That's how we saw it in the video. You didn't fight at all?
No.
If you did not, why did Tampuli have to hold your smoke, your fugu?
Well, they were interested in not getting any business done that day, and perhaps also because I'd come to take Asiedu out of his grip. He didn't like the idea. I don't know what it was, but I'm making the point that he eventually smiled at me and let go of the fugu. So it was not a fight at all. It was.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Leader, for attending to this committee. I want to find.
Thank you very much.
You heard your counterpart on the other side asking people to remove cables, tables, and the rest. And you saw how, on the other side, how, let me use this word, rowdy they have become. How come you are a whip here and you had members on our side and you didn't instruct them to also counter them?
Because you see, Chair, I was the beneficiary of the proceedings, so to speak. It's my ministers or nominees who were being processed, as it were. If I had encouraged my my part of the committee to engage in the scaffold, I'm sure the events would have been recounted, would have been more terrible. I was the beneficiary, so my focus was not to get my people involved and to make sure that even though they were intended to disrupt as much as they could, they did very little damage. In fact, the instruction that the cables be pulled and tables be pulled apart came much earlier. There was one video where you saw me having heated arguments with the minority leader himself. That was when I was telling him that what he was doing was totally unacceptable. He couldn't be instructing his people this way.
What was the instruction from the minority leader? Because we didn't hear that in the video.
The instruction was that the vetting must not go on.
Okay, we saw it.
Yes,
we
the vetting, there will be no vetting. And of course, there will be no vetting, and that they were also not going to leave. So other instructions came, and so tables were being raised, some sideways of the tables were being raised and dropped, raised, dropped. Eventually, the table tumbled, lost 2 legs, if I recall. Cables were pulled. All this while I was stationed this way and ensuring that we could still work until Akando took the seat. Then I came and moved in. Even when I moved in, I don't know, those other videos didn't capture. We eventually had to move that table that lost 2 legs and rearrange the front. So where you were sitting, now we shifted another table, but we set it so it became narrow.
Yeah, we have all those videos,
Okay,
but
so
too
it became
long.
narrow. So you saw that we eventually tried to restore some order, and was anxious that we could still proceed with the vetting. But the electronic gadgets were completely damaged, so we couldn't do anything. And that was when leader came in to say that we should call it a day.
Leader, you said you did not instruct the majority members to support whatever was going on. Are you proud of those who joined without your instruction? Are you proud of them? And let me also ask whether, if they had not joined, you think the distraction or the damage that caused would have even been more than what we experienced?
You see, Chair, in things like this, sometimes we're all human. You needed not to be instructed for you to participate positively, because you saw some of our colleagues practically lifting the seats and dumping them on the table. They'll lift a chair, dump it on the table. It happened for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And some even threatened pushing the chairs across to our side. Okay, provocation, but we didn't react. Then now they were lifting the tables, the side of the table, they were flipping it sort of. Now, if you don't go and restore, if you don't go and prevent that from happening, they could flip it and you may get hurt. So, yes, some of my members went there to ask it to stop the flipping of the tables, to prevent it. So they will flip it, they will bring it down. They will flip it, they will bring it down. And it was, I would rather commend them for trying to ensure that order was restored. I would rather commend my members who tried, including myself, that we were trying to restore order.
Yeah, earlier on, one of the marshals appeared before the committee, and I asked whether the intervention of some of our MPs on the majority side was helpful to restore some order here. And he said it was helpful. I also asked whether the intervention of the police officers was too late. And to him, yes, if those people had not intervened at that time, probably much damage would have been done to properties around. As a whip, why did you wait and you didn't instruct majority side to come in as early as possible to support the marshal when the police officers were not around?
The marshal had men here, and he himself, the deputy, came in with the policemen. Now, at the point that the policemen came, our colleagues had massed up this way. The house is divided. The committee we sit. It used not to be the case. Previously, or in previous years, we could mingle. But now they made it a point that when we come, we align. So the majority, we align this way. The minority, they align this way. And they had moved in, even non-members, there were about 15 to 20 MPs on their side who had come in. And they had massed up. So the whole place in the area where you sit now to the left of the chairman was completely densely populated and chaotic. So to ask your men to join, you were really creating problems. So it was good that I asked my men to wait, but those who saw it fit to go prevent the lifting of the tables and the chairs and pulling out of the cables, I should commend them for taking that initiative. Because then it would have been a source for some other inquiry today that I had instructed my men to go to the side that we did not belong. That would have been the point that would have meant that I caused my men to come and attack them because they were here, they were creating problems. If I had asked my men, they would have said, the chief whip commanded these people to come and attack them. So I'm happy I didn't do that, but I'm also happy that my men who went there didn't participate in what's the expression? In enhancing what they were doing, but to diminish it and to restore order.
Yeah, Whip, can you tell the committee in future if that should happen again, what measures would you put in place to forestall settings?
Thank you very much. I think that going forward, we should have strict protocols. Protocols already exist, practices exist, conventions exist. The caucuses that constitute committees, if you disagree with the committees, first, committee decisions must always be reduced into voting so that somebody doesn't come later in the day and say that we agreed that we'll do this and you are doing the other thing. Once we agreed on a certain position, let us vote. It becomes the decision of the committee, not a single person's decision. That's one thing I think that we must. That is our protocol, but it appears we don't enforce it strictly. For instance, if there were votes to indicate that for Thursday and Friday, we had voted as a committee to vet 8 persons, or to vet 7 persons, or to vet 6 persons, then the evidence would have been very clear that this, when we say a decision was taken or a decision was not taken, it is the votes that will speak to it. And then,
excuse me, just a quick one. I know that is the ideal situation, but
so
a situation that a minority taking a decision that they will not abide by the rules of the game, and they will always want to go by that tangent. What are we doing?
Now, as leader, I think the prudent thing for any chairman that will be confronted with a similar situation in the future is to change venue. You change venue, and then you report. Because if we had changed, for instance, that Thursday, if we have changed our location to Speaker's Conference Room, for instance, or to any other committee room, I'm sure by the time would have relocated, order would have been restored. I don't think they would have carried the chaotic scenes here to the new committee room. So change of venue when you are confronted with the matters such as this is also very important, because venue plays a great deal when it comes to these matters. Then 3, we must also insist on having a certain number of persons to invite to support the nominees. The present system, the committee set its own guidelines and said every nominee should come with 10. But we've seen situations where nominees have been here with hundreds of people. Even in some cases, more than hundreds of people. And so they mill around the presence of Parliament. And some of these non-accredited members filter through to the committee room and the committee's proceedings. And so when there are issues like this, it's very difficult. Then, finally, for me, Mr. Chairman, we must have time frames for the ranking member to pose his questions. It may be a practice that the ranking member will have open-ended, unlimited time to interrogate these matters. But
why only ranking member?
Well, for the members, for members or leadership, the chairman already has a way of determining how long you could go. So chairman could say that every member, you have 3 substantive questions and 3 follow-ups, or 3 follow-ups, or 3 supplementary. So, a member, you know that you have 6 maximum questions, however you frame it. You could do that in 30 minutes, you could do that in 1 hour, but you have 6 questions. But when it comes to the ranking member, particularly on the committee, and I think on other committees as well, they are given so much power to interrogate matters ad infinitum. And I think that it poses a problem. They have such massive power, so they're able to, and they also have follow-ups to other members' questions. So if you have a ranking member who wants to be grandstanding, you really have problems. Your vetting could take days, and he says he has questions he's asking. So those guidelines should be properly streamlined. This will be my preliminary views on this matters regarding the question posed to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Leader, we have listened to you, and I had some questions for you, but you have already answered part of the questions. But I will still make a follow-up on your submission. You have indicated the difficulties in controlling, particularly the ranking member during the proceedings, because he could go on and on and on. You have this knowledge, and yet you program to have 8 people on a day, or if you like, you can even reduce it to 6. And from the calculation that we have done, you are probably a 15-member committee, and if each person were to spend 20 minutes from what you have indicated to us, and that means that it's not possible to, practically possible to have the 8 people vetted. Don't you think that you should have had, when you decided that you were going to have 8 people, you should have had a caucus meeting to determine how much time each person should spend, and also limit, even though that is not the practice, limit the ranking members time in terms of, because you had a long business to do. So if you don't discipline yourselves, and if you don't you don't allocate time to people, then it is practically impossible for you to complete that work. And so you were going to do, you had proposed something which, in my view, you knew that it was not possible to do. And probably that is the reason why the minority side said that they were tired. And they were tired because they had sat there for a very long time. Is there no way, I said you have already answered part of it, but don't you think that that particular day, if you had had a caucus meeting, probably you would have done better in terms of programming for the 8 people that you wanted to vet that particular day?
Chairman, thank you very much. It wouldn't have been a caucus meeting, but a pre-hearing meeting of the committee. Now, we do that every morning before proceedings commences publicly. In fact, if we leave our offices, normally we do the pre-sitting meetings at the conference room of the First Deputy Speaker, Chair. Often, when we leave there, we still hold pre-sitting meetings in one of the holding rooms here, even before we go public. So these are not matters, you and I, we are here. You know how fluid these matters are. Sometimes you plan to vet 4, and you time yourself that for each candidate you may spend not more than 2 hours. The candidate appears in 5 minutes, the candidate is gone. You see, so it's not cast in stone. Because on days that you think the ranking member will go full haul, he surprises you and says, I have no question. Then as the whip, you want to manage your business. So as much as possible, you want to program as many as is reasonably possible to vet in a day. When we get tired, when exhaustion sets in later in the day, we can offload to the next day. But this one, they just decided. I'm still searching for what caused their decision not to continue with the vetting on Thursday. They won't tell me. But something must have snapped, somewhere. And they just said, no way, they won't continue. Otherwise, we've done vetting 10 p.m., 11 p.m. We know it's the time. After these times, there will be no vetting for this committee for a long time, except for Supreme Court and that thing. So, when the season is here, it's the committee's time to work. You may also not be using the prudent time or the time and resources of Parliament prudently when you know that you could do 6 and yet you program for 3. So these are balancing act. But going forward, I agree with you that where there's so much consensus building, these things are easily manageable. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chief Whip.
It's my sister.
What do you think about the minority leader's reaction to the clerk?
They are sisters too. They are family too. They are families. So it's difficult to find the Honorable Afenyomakin take to Auntie Gifty, as we call her, the clerk to the committee, that way, in that manner. Politics. It's politics that will make a brother do that to a sister. Otherwise, there was no need to label her NDC clerk. That tarring, that labeling was totally unnecessary. But politics makes man do the unthinkable sometimes. And so I wasn't surprised when the apology came, because my brother, for him to apologize, he must have really reconsidered the matter and saw that it was proper to apologize. So unfortunate as it was, but Gifty, I've told her those are also the hazards of her job. When I was suspended, she told me that's the hazards of my job. So I asked her to take it in her stride. It was terrible, very emotionally challenging for her and the family. But when apology came, I'm sure it settles it.
So you agree that maybe the occupational hazards are getting a bit more hazardous? Would you say that?
I agree with you. I agree with you, especially when by deliberate design we're encouraging more women to get into spaces that were hitherto left for men. Not just the mainstream politicking, but agencies and public services like parliamentary service that help the political machinery to move. You need more women to come in. So when women get to this level, you need to encourage them. You don't have to be so hard on them. You know what I mean. So we want to. They must also be hardy and toughened. That this matter shouldn't get to them too much, because they need to be here. They need to work with us.
Mr. Chairman, this kind of disruptive behavior, if I can put it that way, because that day was disruptive, it has never happened on the appointments committee before. Do you agree?
Yes, yes, I agree. It has never. But you see, it's about the decision of a caucus. It's not really the committee. It's the caucus on the committee that took that decision and took the decision to disrupt. So it wasn't one member of that caucus that did it. It was the entire group. They decided that vetting won't continue. They'll disrupt, they'll pull cables, they'll raise chairs and tables. So it was a decision. And you know, in Parliament, when the caucus takes a decision, they are all bound. So we've had chaotic scenes on the floor because a certain caucus took that decision. So it became chaotic. So people should understand how Parliament works. It's not an individual decision. It was a group decision that the group, this is all we'll do. And they did it, they carried it out. So the damnation and the condemnation must go to the group, not the individual members. Because the individuals were only executing the direction of the group and the group leader. I am sure that if the group leader has yelled that day that it's okay, let's go, I'm sure that marching order, every one of them would have followed.
Chief Whip, you agree that in the 8th Parliament, there were a couple of instances where there were some disruptions. If I recall, about 2 or 3. But there was never a probe, per se, like what Speaker has established now. Do you agree that perhaps this is a time for us to review certain behaviors that are showing up but are not that parliamentary?
Yes. For instance, when the night you and I and we voted for Speaker Gbagbin, you saw when a group decided that one of them should go and chew ballot paper, go and grab the ballot paper. That was the decision by the group. And one person went to execute it. It resulted in chaos. They brought in soldiers, they brought in the police. My leader then, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, actually requested for an inquiry, but somehow it was ignored. Even an inquiry from outside, because an inquiry was to be about us. So the inquiry should have been by a body from outside. They will appear and give testimony. I was shocked for 2 hours that night. Taste, as it were, because we're in the forefront. So, yes, increasingly in a short span of, should I say 6 years or 5 years, we've had some recurrent sins in Parliament. That isn't good. In Parliament, you disagree, You register your protestation forcefully as it could be. Then you walk out. You hold your press conferences as vociferously as you could, as frequently as you could, but you don't practically engage in physical destructions. That is untoward. And so I agree that this inquiry be done, a report be prepared, and recommendations made to guide our work forward.
So on that day, you didn't come with a preconceived mind. You came dressed in fugu. Fugu is a tough fabric. It's a tough attire. You did not come with a preconceived mind.
You know, I had lost a day. I didn't do any work. And government, you know, when you're a government whip, you also whip from outside. They're asking you, Roxanne, why? Why are you allowing yourselves to? We have nominees to vet, so please focus on government business. So mine was to ensure that government business got done. You know, so I'd come in my workaholic, in my normal, ordinary workaholic attire to soldier through the day. I didn't come with it. If I were to have any, if I'd known that there would have been a fight in the evening, I would have been in another attire. But not fugu. But I came just to get the work done.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think moving forward, as you whip the caucus in line, do you agree that maybe you need to confer also with your whip on the other side, who has been a whip for much longer than you, but lately you seem to see some inconsistencies? Unless there's a definition of what a whip should do, maybe when he comes, we'll ask that question.
Yet, you know, Frank and I were university mates too. We're in the same hall, Kisley 4 hall. So we've known each other. We did student politics. So we go back 25 years or more. Or even 30 years, because we all entered university in 97. I did a 3-year program, he did a 4-year program. He read a Greek. And so I completed a year before him. And so we've been close since, and we are here again. Like I told you, what happened that day was also not his decision, not his personal decision. It was a group decision that he implemented. When somebody says, I know, ensure that vetting doesn't happen, he himself was shouting that no vetting. It was a group decision. So these are not situations that you can confer and build consensus. They have departed from that long ago. They made their decision that it won't happen, and so it must not happen willy-nilly. So we confer a lot. As I speak to you, when I leave here, we are going to meet and try and think about other things for tomorrow. But that day, oh, no, they were not in the mood. Consensus would had been lost. So.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Majority Chief Whip, was there a discussion regarding the number of people in the room at any point, between at least the leadership of the committee?
If I understand your question regarding members of the committee.
I can clarify.
Yep.
The room was packed. Was there ever a discussion between the leadership of the appointments committee regarding the population of the room, the number of people in the appointments committee room?
For that night, for that period, no. Because people were anxious to get their nominees done, and so they could move. And it was, it was night, so.
Okay.
But
So
there was no such.
Okay.
There was no such problem.
Thank you. You mentioned earlier on that a decision had been taken by the committee to limit numbers to 10. Given the numbers we observed, Did you question the failure to adhere to the number of invitees, number one, and the number of persons allowed into the room on the day?
Yes, if I recall, in the course of the day, chairman kept making the point, especially when nominees were done, when interrogations were completed of a nominee and names were submitted for acknowledgement. Some were so tall. So chairman will remark, but why? Statutorily, we decided that only 10 persons should follow nominees. Now I have over 50 names to acknowledge. So he kept raising that issue that we should ensure that we stick to the numbers apportioned at the time. What we didn't insist on getting the names of the invitees, because when you say somebody should bring 10, for that 10, you don't know who and who will be brought. But if we design that, let's know the names of the 10 persons that will be invited, then we'll be enforcing that strictly. That's where I also saw a lacuna, a gap. Let's insist on getting the names of the people to be invited.
Thank you.
It helps.
Honorable Chief Whip, was there a consensus on the committee regarding the number of days between when the list was presented to the House and when the vetting of the nominees was to happen?
Yes, the rules governing the statutory publication inviting memo upon submission of names to the Speaker for referral to committees was waived. So if you recall, as soon as the names were released to Speaker or remitted to Speaker, referral was deemed made to the committee, and the committee met and scheduled vetting. So it was waived.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. Do you recall at what time this incident occurred, the scuffle in the room?
No, Chairman, it should be between, I think it began from about 7:30 to 8 p.m. on Thursday. Yeah, 7:30 to 8 p.m. on Thursday.
Is that to say that by about 8 p.m. the majority leader had come in and had adjourned the sittings of the committee?
I may have to check the videos too, but the scuffle had gone on for about 20 to 30 minutes before majority leader came in. He came in, went back, and came back to restore order and made his pronouncement.
Thank you very much. My final question: was there any point during the proceedings of the committee where there was a discussion with yourself and your counterpart on the minority regarding the length of time and rescheduling, given that at this point you'd taken a decision on how many people you were going to vet that day? As the day was unfolding, and given that you still had a backlog, was there a discussion at any point between yourself and your counterpart or among the leadership to reconsider what could be done for the rest of that day?
If I recall properly, even vetting for Thursday, they were against it. Even vetting for Thursday, they were against it initially. But we had to implore them and for them to appreciate the backlog. So they agreed. But the issue was the number to vet for that day. They were not certain, but they were saying that they won't vet all. And I was saying we had a backlog. So as much as possible, let us vet. Eventually they came to say that they may agree to 4. And I told chairman that no, we had work to do. So chairman said, a bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush. So let's proceed with the 4 that they had agreed. They are not in disagreement to vetting. And when we cross the 4, then we can then engage them to add more. Even the 4, we hadn't crossed the 4 when the scuffle happened. So that was what happened.
Thank you. Just to clarify, at the time Honorable Akando came in, how many members had you vetted up until that point?
If I recall, we had done three or four. I need to, because we didn't start early. Something happened in the morning, so we had lost so much time in the day. So we didn't start early. I think we had done three. Akando was supposed to be the fourth, if I recall.
You said something happened in the morning. Can you tell this committee what really happened?
We had an indication that they were having a caucus meeting. And so they slated 10 a.m. for start. We couldn't. They came to say that they were having a caucus meeting. So when they eventually came for us to start, it was quite past the 10 a.m. Or even past 11. Yep.
Honorable Majority Chief Whip, you are a principal officer in this house.
Yes.
Are you proud of what happened on that day?
Well, not at all. And I take responsibility. So when my punishment came, I took it in good faith. Others disagreed that essentially if punishment were to be meted out, it ought not to be me. But I agree in principle that you need to punish the leaders for what happened. Consensus building failed for that night. If my counterparts were not minded to be insistent on his modus operandi for that day, wouldn't have experienced that. But he insisted. And once they decided to disrupt, raise tables, raise chairs, what can I do? What could I have done? Just to suffer for the punishment. So, but going forward, I believe that that's why I said this work will be a good guide. Whatever recommendations you give will be a good guide going forward. A lot of things ought to be streamlined from now onwards.
You just mentioned that consensus failed. Now, I quite also remember the Honorable Deputy Speaker, the chair of the appointment committee, also confirming what you said, that they have waived, or the committee waived, some of the processes. As soon as the letter comes, it's deemed to. Now, if the two members, both minority and majority, has agreed that some of these waivers should be accepted, don't you think that when they came to you and said, well, we're not going to do more than this numbers, you could have also given as a way of accepting the minority side than pushing hard that you want to finish the 8 nominees or the 9 nominees on the same day?
Chairman, there's a reasonableness to everything. And in the primariness of what we do, we are 7 people. We had scheduled people, nominees, from the week before. And there was no fault of theirs that we had the vetting for Wednesday was truncated. It ought not to affect those slated for Thursday. So if committee was adding workload to Thursday's work, those originally slated for Thursday ought to be attended to. Okay. 2, when you want to vary earlier agreed positions, you don't do it with fisticuffs and you don't do it like that. We engage, we judge, and you don't do it to people who have been asked to come and are ready to appear. You don't go and tell them that go back and come tomorrow. It's as if the committee is acting whimsically. So if they had disagreements, it should be about the following day's work for me, not work that had already been programmed. That was why I had a disagreement with them, that we had this program for today. So your insistence that we won't continue is political. Nothing other than that. And if I want to agree with you politically, I'll also be damaging myself politically. So I also insisted that we should work. In any case, if you disagree, you walk, you leave us alone. We had quorum to continue with work, but to disrupt it, unacceptable.
Thank you very much, Majority Chief Whip. I think we've had enough of you today. We'll call upon you when the time arises again. And thank you so much for attending upon this committee. You are honorably discharged.
Most grateful, Chair. Thank you for the opportunity.
We will take Honorable Samson Ahi. After that, we'll have Mr. George Glory Opeku, who indicated that he's ready.
You are welcome to Roma Ridge Traditional Chinese Clinic. We deal with the stroke case and the kidney matter and the spine problem. So most of the time our patients, they come here because of the traditional medicine and acupuncture and the traditional therapy. We use this the method to help the patients come out from the illness. Always we do our best for our patient. The patient also take us as friends. We want the patient to come inside with happiness and also go with happiness. That is our work.
Roman Ridge Traditional Clinic was established in 2022 by Dr. Wei Young. Dr. Wei has been in the practice for over 16 years.
I have known Dr. Wei Young for over 17 years. He is compassionate, hardworking, and very professional in his dealings. His facility is well known for the way it manages strokes, heart disease, liver, kidney, and other problems.
Our services include laboratory services, X-ray, scan, and general consultation.
But the brand here, my goodness, I'm sure with the minute Roman Ridge Traditional Chinese Clinic. Now the call on Ampa, want to share me, I'm a who told me. Ne Honsu and Hulu say, send one sign Yarwa be breathe. It be a stroke, diabetes, hypertension, spine, liver, and kidney problems. They come from our say, I bring Biara. Over problem, Biafra, sa we win now. For when it's a Roman Ridge Traditional Chinese Clinic, one of the show and Wapumudin, a Gina painting. Roman Traditional Chinese Clinic, we have our special treatment for our patients. And I do believe that good emotion should be the best medicine for our health.
Inform the chiefs who were getting a little worried because they thought that the vetting will start at 3 p.m. So I went to them and assured them that Akando's vetting was going to come on, even though not at 3 p.m. as earlier planned. So most of us from the Western of MPs were here. So I was sitting down. At a point, the minority side left. And then, as soon as they came back, the minority leaders started confronting the clerk of the committee. And then...
Sorry, you said at a point the minority side left. They left to where?
They left for about, I think, 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
Before they came back.
And then they came back again.
When they were coming back, they were talking. That...
Do you know the exact time that they left and came back? Can you give this committee the exact time?
This should be around 6:30, around 6:37. Around 6:37. So when they came in, they were shouting. It was like a collective thing. They have all agreed that the vetting should not come on because they are tied to them. So they started dismantling the table and destroying the marks. So at a point, it became like for and against. So the minority group were making sure that the vetting will not come on, and then the majority group, who were also here, were insisting that the vetting should come on. So you will see that Honorable Anodompre will pull the table away, and you have some majority MPs who are trying to also bring it back to make sure that the vetting will go on. This traveled for about, I think, 30 minutes, and everything was in disarray until the, I think, majority leader came in and then restored order and announced that that day the vetting has been postponed to the following day. In all this, the nominee, Honorable Akando, had already taken his seat. Honorable Akando has already taken his seat. If I remember very well, he had even been sworn in before the scaffold started. So in a nutshell, that is what I can say about what happened that day. Thank you.
Sorry, this is just to clarify, Honorable. You said the Honorable member had been sworn in. Did you see it happen, or did you assume he was sworn in?
I think he was sworn in.
But you're not sure?
If I remember very well, he was sworn in.
Okay, thank you.
From our record, he wasn't sworn in. He was about to be sworn in, and the clerk insisted that he wants the chaos to calm down before she swears in Honorable Akando. So Akando was not sworn in.
I'm saying I saw him holding the Bible, something like that.
Yeah, Honorable Member, you said at a point the minority leader left with, is it with the entire minority caucus or the leadership of the appointment committee rather left?
It's a minority leader and his group who left. So when they came in fact, when they left, I thought that they have boycotted the vetting. So I was even making a sign to Akano that this is going to go through quickly. So when they came back, I said, what? These people have come back. So the group left and came back with that scene.
So did they come back with even additional numbers, or the very group that left were those who came back? because when we listened to some earlier invitees to this committee, some of them said they even called for reinforcement from the minority caucus, because observing the videos, you could see that most of them were not even part of the appointment committee, but they were here in their numbers. So in the midst of that scaffold, they called for reinforcement. That's why I'm saying that when they left and came back, did they come back with a bigger number than what they had initially?
That is exactly what happened. When they were leaving, I think there were about 5 of them, but they came back with about 9 people. I don't remember the exact number, but there were more than the number that left the meeting room.
Honorable Member, can you confirm that the security that was provided on that day was adequate?
Yeah, I think nobody thought of what was going to happen, because they have started working peacefully. At a point they left, nobody knew that they were going to return in that chaotic situation. So I won't say that the security arrangement was too relaxed, but suddenly they were taken by surprise by their conduct.
Like an earlier question that I posted to our whip, I'm very sure that if they would like to follow the laid down rules, probably this scene that we saw the other time wouldn't have happened. And I can see that they wouldn't want to walk out, but to distort the process. Going forward, what do you think as a parliament or the appointment committee, what do you think should happen in future?
You know, I mean, the normal parliamentary practice is that if a group don't support certain course of action, they will register their displeasure and then walk out. But it seems to me that this current minority group, they will not stage a walkout, but they will make sure the place become ungovernable. They make sure that nothing can go on. So I don't think now anybody can prescribe antidote for this type of attitude. So, because, like I've said, the best thing is for them to walk out, but they won't walk out. And they will make sure that you cannot also work, unless you are asking the security to deal with them if they find themselves in such situations, which I don't want also to recommend that. But I believe that we should sit down and as Parliament try to fashion out some strategies and modalities as to going forward how we conduct business when it comes to such matters.
I'm asking this question because of the fact that, you know, sitting like this is parliamentary sitting because the chairman has the mandate of the speaker. So it is the parliament that is sitting. So if you disrupt, that means even if you are at the chamber and the same attitude is adopted, that means all that we have to do is just to suspend sitting. Can this continue? So is there a way out? I don't know. So that in future, even if it happens in the chamber, what do we do?
You know, we have the Privileges Committee to be responsible for such matters. If you feel strongly that a conduct of a member has disrupted parliamentary proceedings, you can complain on the floor, and if the speaker feels strongly that there is cause for investigation, the speaker will refer the matter to the Privileges Committee, and the Privileges Committee is clothed with all the powers to prefer sanctions to affected members. And so I think we should enforce, let's allow Privilege Committee to work effectively. I guess this committee has been formed because you know that as we speak, we don't have the committee in place. But if you have the committee in place, you should refer the matter to the Privilege Committee because they have the powers to prescribe sanctions, punishment to members.
Lastly, would you recommend that in future, the number of people we invite to such vetting activities, we need to reduce it drastically? I know you are also, even though officially they've not communicated, very soon, would you recommend that the chiefs and other people should come in the numbers that they usually follow nominees for vetting?
Do you mean the nominees, the number of nominees or the supporters?
Let me use the supporters, chiefs and other people that follow nominees for vetting. Because I can also imagine the inconvenience because some of them were put in hotel for 3 days. And all the inconveniences that come along with it, we recommend that in future, the numbers should be reduced drastically so that it will not put so much burden on nominees.
Yeah, that may be considered. But I don't think the problem was as a result of the number of chiefs who attended upon to support nominees.
This is a follow-up before my main question. Honorable Ahi, from the account that we have received so far, it is quite clear that there was indeed pressure on the committee because of the number of people who had been invited to the vetting. Because the people had come, then the schedule had to change, and they said, no, people have brought chiefs, they have brought these people, and so we must continue. If the people were fewer, I'm sure that pressure would not have been on the various nominees, and they could have contained it to say that, well, we can reschedule it, I can manage this cost. But the cost aspect of keeping people here was part of the pressure which was put on the committee. Don't you think so?
I really don't know why Wednesday vetting didn't come on. I have been with the appointment committee for 19 years. What we normally do is just to program 4 or 5 and get it done. From what I've learned, on Wednesday, Honorable Kofiada, the Transport Minister, Nipe, and then I think the Mutala, Honorable Mutala, were to be vetted on Wednesday. Kofiada, I'm sorry, were to be vetted on Wednesday. It didn't come on. Before that, they have programmed to vet 5 people on Thursday. So they pushed these 3 nominees to Thursday. And because already they have programmed to vet them on Thursday, their guests have already traveled and they were all in Accra. So, but like I've said, I didn't know what happened, why Wednesday vetting didn't come on. But normally you agree on the number and you just stick to it. Nothing will happen. Because I don't remember ever in my 19 years as a member of the appointment committee running into this such difficulties.
So my main question, did you participate in the commotion which ensued?
If you look through the video, I was sitting down quietly because, you know, I don't have strength to fight. All that I was doing was just to calm people down, allow peace reign. That was all that I did.
Okay. I don't want to commend you for that because I noticed that you did not participate at all. You were calm. Thank you.
I participated, but not in a in a violent manner. I had a different way of participating by cooling heads down.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Member, just for the record, are you a member of the Appointments Committee currently?
No, Mr. Chairman.
So that means that on the day in question, you attended as a member of Parliament supporting another member, but not as a member of the committee.
Exactly so. I came in to support Honorable Akando.
Okay. You'd mentioned that you've been a member of the Appointments Committee before. In how many parliaments have you been a member of the Appointments Committee, if you can recall?
5. I joined the Appointment Committee, I think, 2006 till last year, somewhere August, when the new standing orders was adopted.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Just final question is whether the numbers that you observed in terms of the members of Parliament, and the numbers you observed in terms of the visitors in the room, was this more than you have normally observed in the past, or is this the usual practice?
I think the numbers are the same. When we started, we were doing the vetting at Mr. Speaker's conference room. But because of the numbers which could not accommodate the number of people who came to support nominees, that's where we have to move to this current place. So I think people just want to associate with nominees to show solidarity. Chiefs and family members want to just come and support their nominees. And I don't see anything wrong with that, because I'm not sure that is the cause for what happened that very day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honorable colleague, senior colleague, so in your 19 plus years on this committee, what do you think could have caused this disruption? Especially as you sat here as a participant or as a witness to what happened. What do you think could have caused it? Because I sense there's a certain heightened level of intolerance, and something has changed. Because when we were on the committee in the last parliament, our colleagues would heckle, but that is the limit to which they would go. What do you think has changed?
I think what I can deduce from what happened that day was a minority who has just taken a decision to bring proceedings to an end. And so whatever form they would do to make sure proceedings didn't continue was what they exhibited.
So do you possibly agree to the assertion that then to be forewarned is to be forearmed moving forward with the relationship with the minority? Or after this committee has done its work and the recommendations hopefully taken, we should take it that we've all learned something from this?
Yeah, you see, as members of Parliament, the standing orders give us privileges. If you abuse your privilege, you can be sanctioned. And so the only problem now is that the culprits were suspended upon an appeal by our leaders, Mr. Speaker lifted the suspension. Otherwise, I'm sure your recommendation has to be implemented fully. And that is to say that if a member has to be punished, so be it. Just to show that even though you're a member of parliament, you have your limits, you can be tolerated to a certain extent, but if you overdo things, the standing orders that gave you that power to, be here as MP can also profess sanctions on you. So we should enforce it. If we enforce our standing orders by putting people on the privilege committee, the subsidiary, what is the name? Privilege committee, they have the mandate to even prescribe dismissal or sanction or reprimand. These are all in the standing orders. And so there's a whole committee. And so I think members should be conversant with that part of the standing orders so that we are not immune from being sanctioned.
Honorable Samson Ahi, I don't have any question for you. You are a witness, and you just collaborated your story with others, and so you are honorably discharged. If the committee needs you again, we'll call upon you. Thank you very much for attending upon this committee.
Thank you, Chairman.
Honorable colleagues and members from the media, we'll be taking the video again. We'll invite Honorable Collins Dauda. We've also added Mr. Kweku Asante from Joy FM, whose video all of us have watched. Yeah, so, and then the lawyers for Mr. Gregory will have to watch the videos again, after which we'll call Honorable Collins and then Gregory before the third. So can we watch the videos, please?
disrupt. We will disrupt. It's not happening. We will fight tomorrow. We'll fight tomorrow. Who's this? It's not happening.
The former Deputy Trade and Industry Minister clashing. This is literally a clash. This is literally MPs involved in fisticuffs, and they say that the vetting process must not happen. There's heightened security. The marshal is himself here in the meeting. You can't do focus. I don't know. You can. We will do it, but we are not going to. It's a lot of confrontation with a lot of people not willing to do anything. The clerk is trying to organize the space. He's trying to put all the tables together to ensure that things are done appropriately for this vetting to ultimately happen. But the MP say they will not allow that. They try and put things together, and they say that they are not going to allow that. They are not going to allow that. It's a big confrontation. It's a big confrontation. The minority leader himself in the car trying to do this. Honorable Kami Bakwe really confronted and ultimately saying that they are not going to allow that. Well, a lot of violent scenes right here at the appointment committee with the clerk of parliament himself here trying to try and sort things out. There's a table there, as you can see. The table has been just lighted. The chairman himself on his feet. Well, the tables, the microphones are being destroyed. The microphone has just fallen down. The microphone has just fallen down, and they are being destroyed. Things have literally been destroyed. Public property are being damaged there. With this confrontation in the middle of all of this, with a lot of talk about what must happen, and if ultimately this vetting must go on, the NPP are clear in their mind that no vetting should happen today. And you see the leader himself here and insisting that this vetting should not happen. Mahama Yariga there, together with the minority leader, in there trying to have a conversation. And we are also trying to get a bite. There's a negotiation happening right in the middle of this vetting process as the leaders try to reach some agreement for the vetting process to continue. Alexander Fenyomakin telling majority leader that they agreed to vet 5. They have vetted 5 persons, and they expect that this process will come to an end and that they will not allow any more persons to be vetted. There's a lot of confrontation. The majority leader now, as you can see him there in the middle of this situation, trying to very much get things under control, speaking to NPP MPs to try and calm tempers. Mama Aiga says he wants things to happen. You can hear Frank Anodon pray, the minority chief.
It's not going to happen.
It will not happen today, and that also
necessary. Right. Even the candidate nominees that we didn't agree, we have done it. Kofi Adams was not part of the arrangement. We compromised and did it. We agreed on 4. We have done 5. They should understand. What is this? Why? Look, some of them we spend less than 30 minutes on them. We can't do proper vetting with this short time. They should understand this. Otherwise, it will not happen. It will not happen.
The leader and his chief whip are ad idem on this matter. They say it will not happen. He's trying to take the leader out to try and have some conversation outside. Frank cannot unpray himself, saying this will not happen. And then ultimately, a decision would have to be taken in terms of what exactly they would have to do next. As they do this, the time is going, it's 10:14 p.m. and the public is out there watching members of parliament in a scuffle, dragging tables, and there's chaos. As you can see, a microphone just raised from the floor. It hit the ground. It has totally been destroyed, and there's a lot more people saying that should not happen. The majority leader currently in dialogue in the middle of the room with the majority and minority leaders and all the other persons. They say this will not happen. This will not happen. Seeing your shot, the microphone that was damaged, it hit the ground, and this, all this happening right in the middle of all this. Austin Garment trying to calm things, and there's a violence, there's fight. This is literally two MPs at each other's net. Honorable Hassan Tampuli together with Roxy Nelson, the Femeko, pushing, holding each other's clothes as we speak, and their leaders are trying to separate them, and none of them will allow this to happen, and they've been separated as we speak. But this is chaos. This is a lot of very not so nice scenes as the marshals and other persons try to separate the conflict and the confrontation that is currently ongoing here at the appointment committee, where really not so much good scenes. The ninth parliament is starting on not so good scenes so far. A lot of policemen walking in, our policemen are walking in. A lot of policemen from the Parliamentary Protection Unit have now walked in, and they are trying to ensure that there is order and there is calm here ultimately for this process to happen. But this table has become the center of attraction, where MPs pulling and pushing with a lot of confrontation. Please pick it. Yeah. This is chaos. Well, as you can see, the SMP says they will not allow these tables to be, the tables are literally being pushed, where the NSMP is trying to rearrange the tables. The MPP MPs are not allowing this to happen. And these are really terrible scenes, as we are seeing in Parliament, with honorable members right at each other's throats, fighting and pushing and pulling tables, saying that this vetting will not happen, that the pushing and pulling is ongoing. This is chaos. This is chaos right here in Parliament. These are reminiscent of some of the scenes we saw when the Speaker of Parliament was elected in the 8th Parliament. But this time around, this is happening at the Appointment Committee of Parliament. A small group of people trying to have some agreement in terms of what exactly they have to do. And there's absolutely no agreement. This is chaotic. This is chaos. The MPs at each other's throat, they say that this will not happen. The vetting process, they will not allow this to happen, and they have push and pull. The police have been beefed up. There's a lot of policemen now in the building where they're trying to sort out the situation and calm things, but it's chaotic. It's really chaotic with all the things that are happening here. Well, it's chaos. The table have been turned. It's chaos. The table have turned. More microphones are falling to the ground and things are being destroyed. The table has broken. The table has been broken with all that we are seeing here. It is obvious that this vetting may not happen. It is obvious that this vetting may not happen with all that is happening, with public property being destroyed and all that is being happening. There's a certain understanding that perhaps this will have to be resolved in another way, and it is clear that this vetting cannot happen with what we are seeing currently here in Parliament. There's chaos, it's chaos, it's chaos. This is chaos. This is chaos. I'm not sure that this is what a lot of members of Parliament envision or envisage, that coming here today, this is what is going to happen, with tables being broken, with a a lot of issues still unresolved as members of parliament try to...
I believe we have all watched to where the distraction occurred. Can we now have the witnesses? Mr. George Glory Opeku. After him, we'll have Honorable Collins Dowda.
So he took the oath.
No, he has already taken the oath the last time, so we just want to remind him of the oath that he took. Mr. George, you took the oath last Thursday, right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry, Friday. And you are reminded of the oath that you took on Friday.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
On Friday, we gave you an opportunity, being a stranger in Parliament on that day. Today, you are not a stranger because you've been invited officially to give an account of what happened. But on that fateful day, we assume that you were a stranger. Our first question was why you were here. And maybe I want to repeat myself again as you watch the video. Why were you here on the 30th of January 2025?
My counsel want to come in.
Unfortunately, your counsel did not take an oath. And so your counsel can whisper or advise you.
You are to provide the answers.
Okay, so, counsel.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, we wish to raise an objection to the evidence that was elicited from our client on Friday. The basis for this objection is that contrary to the standing orders of Parliament, he was not advised of his right to counsel before evidence was taken from him. And the evidence which was taken from him was not just bordering on matters of fact, but it was bordering on matters of law, including his knowledge of the standing orders of Parliament. For us to proceed presently with those pieces of evidence on record would be too prejudicial to his interest, and we respectfully ask that the evidence that has already been admitted be expunged from the record.
Okay, the committee says that we'll start afresh. We'll expunge this Friday's statement from our record. On that note, it means that we'll start afresh. So can you take the oath now, if you don't mind? Yeah.
Let me see that. Should I stand? I, George Glory Opeku,
swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this commission.
Committee.
Committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
touching the matter in issue
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Mr. George Glory Opeku, you have watched the video.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Were you the man who was moving up and down in the video? Did you see yourself in the video?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Can you tell us why you were here on that day, 30th of January 2025?
I was here as a citizen to witness a proceeding of vetting the nominated ministers of state.
Thank you very much. You were here as a citizen to witness a vetting of ministers that were nominated by His Excellency the President. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So it means that you were not invited by any of the nominees?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Were you cleared by our security officers for you to enter the vetting room?
Duly so, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Declared. Okay, the question again. Were you cleared by security officers, other than marshal or the police, to enter the vetting room? Yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Follow-up question. What was the nature of your, what did the security do?
They asked, where are you going? I even asked them, where's the vetting room? They directed me to the room here, without asking any question. I even asked them, where's the floor, where's the room they are vetting the nominee? And they directed me here.
And that was all the security clearance? That was what they
Exactly
asked?
so.
So you got down here, or you got down at the car park, down, and then you walked up?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you.
Under follow-up, let me find out where the security base was. It at the gate there or just at the entrance of these premises?
From the gate, I passed through a system here, check out a system here, and then I met two policemen here. I asked them, is that the place they are vetting, or the vetting is going on? They said yes. They asked me to enter.
Did you pass through Job 600 or just this entrance?
Where is Job 600?
Where we have our offices, that tall structure, that Job 600. At least you can pass through that place and to link here. Or you came directly from that place. There's security down there to check you. I want to find out where exactly.
The complex nature of your place, I can't tell where I passed through, but one thing that I remember clearly is that I request, when I reach the gate, and I request where is the vetting room, they direct me 2-3 stages, and then I met a policeman here, is that the vetting room? I say yes, and they allowed me in.
A follow-up question. There are two, when vetting is taking place, you have two entrances. You have got this one, and you have got one at the back there. I want you to be clear. Which one?
This place.
This one.
This very one.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. George Glory Opeku, the standing orders of Parliament, Order 6, which is the interpretation part of the orders, page 9. And I want to read. Stranger includes a person other than the president, the vice president, the speaker, the chief justice, a minister, a deputy minister, head of an independent constitutional body, or any other person permitted by the speaker to enter the chamber who is not a member or an officer of parliament. So I want to ask you once again, were you invited by the speaker or any other person to enter into the chamber? The chamber here means the vetting room.
No, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. George. Opeku. Order 288, page 157. Page 157, page 288. A stranger shall not be admitted into the house without authority of the speaker, which may be exercised through the clerk to parliament. I want to ask the question again in reference to this order. Were you given an authority by the speaker through the clerk, or in this instance, the chairman of the appointment committee to come to the house?
No, Mr. Chairman, but this does not apply to the sitting of the appointment committee. Yeah, he checked. He's laughing. And my lawyer is happy to explain further.
What is the name? George. Mr. Glory, do you know that a committee of parliament is parliament? Do you know that a committee of parliament is parliament? Do you know that, or you don't?
It depends on the context.
So I will read again Order 2882 for you to clarify. A member shall not admit a stranger into any part of the house reserved for members while Parliament is sitting.
Are you clear on that?
Order 2882, Rule 2.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Gloria, it will do you a lot of good if you don't engage in a debate. Just answer the questions honestly, as much as you can. Because a committee of parliament is parliament. It's defined in the outstanding orders. So you don't know. Say you don't know.
I don't know, Mr. Chairman.
And so, I can understand your confusion, and I want to explain to you. This is also an opportunity to do a little education. Even the main chamber, we have got public gallery. So when the public, they come in, they go and sit in the public gallery. And so the chamber is where the MPs, where they debate. And so when you come to the committee's meeting, you see a place reserved for members of the committee. And you see another place reserved as gallery. And so if you came in, whatever means you used to come in, you should have gone to the public gallery and not come to where the members are. And so where you came to, this door entering here, you were in Parliament. Do you agree now? So to assist you, 2882 provides that a member shall not admit a stranger into any part of the house reserved for members while Parliament is sitting. So any part of the house reserved for members, and this is part of the house, and this part is reserved for members. And so
my counsel want to come over.
you want your counsel to offer some explanation? Okay, very well.
Thank you, the chair and honorable members. We take the view that the standing orders of Parliament distinguish between admission of a stranger into committees and admission of the stranger into the House. For example, Order 2 is very clear, whilst 288 deals explicitly with admission of strangers into the House. There are specific provisions on the standing orders, particularly Order 266, 2661, 2677, and 271, which deal specifically with the committees. And that's why we've taken the view that the rules that apply to the House do not automatically apply to the committee. This is not to suggest that a committee is not part of Parliament, but in the instance where the rules have, made a specific provision for the admission of a stranger into the committee, for a committee hearing such as the appointment committee hearing, it would be those provisions that apply.
Counsel, we just want the witness to understand. We are laying the ground rules for him to understand. If you go this tangent, it looks like we'll have to educate you more. When we talk about proceedings of the committee shall be held in public, that's what we are doing now. But where the members of Parliament sit is totally different from where the gallery is. That is why when all of them, I mean those who are out there, are not sitting here. This is the sitting of the Committee of Parliament. Yes, it is public, but we have clearly this designated sitting area for members of Parliament, and that's what we want to establish.
Mr. Chairman, we agree with you on that point. The issue we are raising is that the conditions for admission into a committee is different from the conditions for admission into the House. The committee referred to the conditions precedent for admission into the House, which was on the prior approval or authorization from the Speaker. If that provision were to apply, then the chairman of the committee could not even invite someone to a committee hearing. But for public sittings, there is a presumption under Order 266 that it is public, unless the committee decides otherwise. And the committee in this case hadn't decided otherwise. So we are not dealing with the attendance issue at this point, the position within the space, but on the right to come to a public committee hearing. And that's why we took the position that Order 288 does not apply. That was the only limit to our statement.
The rules in this case applies to even here. You quite remember the witnesses that came. We were asking them how many people were invited. And they said 10. Some even went beyond the 10. All because the rule states that before you enter any part of the House, you should have an instructional authority from the Speaker.
Mr. Chairman, we agree, but that was dealing with the House and not any part of Parliament. With respect, the House, even under Order 55, is constituted when the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, or the member presiding is present. And that's why we are drawing that distinction.
So
we are not denying that the committee can decide to hold private sessions where no one can come without permission. The rules are clear on that. We are not denying that the chairman of the committee can ask anyone in the committee session to leave. We are just saying that when the committee is holding a public hearing, the public does not need further authorization to come to the hearing.
Respectfully, counsel, I don't think you are right. In the sense that if you want to extend that argument and say public hearing, we are going to say that we are going to suggest that all Ghanaians are invited to the hearing. That is not the intent. The intent is that it is not going to be limited to only members of Parliament. That is what it means by public hearing. Public hearing means that other members of the public will participate in that hearing, but that will be on invitation. And so if you have received an invitation, then you will not be considered as a stranger. And so that is the point that we are trying to establish.
Mr. Chairman, the fact that it's a public hearing, the courts, for example, the Supreme Court, is open to the public. It doesn't mean every Ghanaian citizen will fit into the court. That's not what we are saying. But we are saying that we do not need any authorization to present yourself to say, I want to come and observe proceedings in the Supreme Court. That's the only distinction that we are making. And even for private sittings, that is where the rules specifically require authorization from the chairman before you enter. The rule only limits it to private sittings. And if you permit me, I would refer to Order 2677, which says, if you permit me, I would read, that a person who is not a member of a committee may attend in-camera meetings of the committee subject to the approval of the committee. It is in-camera sessions that you require the prior approval of the committee to attend. That's the submission we are making. And we are making this submission only because it has been suggested that he could not have presented himself for admission to the committee without an invitation. That is a separate question. That's a separate question to where he should be once he's admitted.
Counsel, I think that you are not appreciating the standing orders of Parliament. This House is governed by rules. It's governed by standing orders. And so the standing orders have provided for who is a stranger. And I'm saying that, or we are saying that as a committee, that this person was not invited. And by that fact, he came in here as a stranger. He was not invited. He has admitted it. And further, the point is being made that even though he managed to get himself into the presence of Parliament, he was only entitled to stay at the public gallery and not where he came to. That's the point that we are making.
So let me add this to it. The order that you quoted is with members of Parliament, in respect of members of Parliament. If committee sits,
I'm just clarifying which order.
This one, order 2677. A person who is not a member of a committee may attend in-camera meetings of the committee subject to the approval of the committee. And in that situation, it is the chairman of the committee that may approve. And it is members of Parliament, not those from outside. So that is the standing order.
With respect, the specific provision dealing with members of Parliament is 2676, which says a member who is not a member of the committee. For such members, they do not need prior approval. Under 2676, they may take part in the proceedings of the committee automatically, unless the House or the committee concerned determines otherwise. However, so the other situation is any other person who is not a member of Parliament, and we are saying that he fits that category, and in that case, he would require the prior approval. And on the last point about who a stranger is, nothing in the standing orders of Parliament suggests that a stranger cannot come to committee proceedings. The definition of stranger only limits it to a class of persons, and that's the submission that we are making. And if you fall within the class of persons described as a stranger, then you have to use the specific rules on how a stranger should be admitted. That is all we are saying. And when it's a public hearing, a stranger doesn't need prior approval. When it's in camera, the stranger then needs the prior approval of the committee. That's the only submission we are making at this stage. Indeed, there are rules for the removal of a stranger from the committee.
We perfectly agree with you that the rule 7 talks about a private person. Our argument or our question, simply put, is that if you are not a member of Parliament, there are places designated for members of Parliament either to sit during the committee meetings, because committees are open to the public, and whether he agrees that he has violated that rule.
Mr. Chairman, I do agree that during a committee hearing like this, no one can just come and, for example, sit at the table. I agree with that point.
Thank you very much. That's all we are looking for. We don't want any long argument.
No, I only had to raise that point because of the premise to some of the questions, that he was not even
Don't
allowed.
worry. We are not here to witch hunt. We said it from the onset that we are here to, it's a fact-finding committee.
Very well, very well.
Now, honorables, you see, you make me say honorables. Mr. George Opeku Glory, can you tell us on that fateful day what you were doing here in this committee room?
Mr. Chairman, I was here to witness the vetting of a nominee by the GM.
You were here to witness the vetting of nominees, not any specific person. Is that right?
I was particularly interested in Sam George and Okujeto Ablakwa's nomination vetting.
Did you get any invitation from Honorable Sam George or Honorable Okujeto to come and witness their vetting?
No formal invitation from them.
So you came as a public interested person to witness the two of them, right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Do you,
So, Mr. Glory, you came just as a spectator. Is that right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
formal invitation from either of them. Do you know Honorable Sam George in person or Honorable Sam Okujeto Ablakwa? Do you know them in person?
Yes.
How do you know the two of them?
As a comrade. They are not my family person. They are comrades.
They are comrades?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. His Excellency has nominated so far 56. Why does it mean the rest are not comrades?
I was busy those times, so I was not trying to, spend time with the other 50 or 60 people.
So if you have the opportunity, you'd have stayed, you'd have been here for all the 56, right?
I will not. But what I've seen the route, I won't come here again.
Can I?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Mr. George Opoku Glory, tell us about yourself. Who are you?
I'm a businessman and a Ghanaian, a taxpayer.
3 words. This is too short. We are trying to identify the stranger, as we were just arguing about in the standing orders. So tell us about the stranger called George Opoku Glory. Describe yourself a bit more. We are trying to understand, we are trying to know you, because you are not a conventional person in this premises. You said you came because of the vetting of 2 particular nominees.
We have a series of business. Whatever you do in this committee have effect on the business committee. And we have investors who are watching this program vetting live on television.
You mean business community, right?
Business community.
Okay.
So that is my reason of, paying particular interest in how Ghana move forward.
So you are interested in the vetting of the foreign affairs, nominee for foreign affairs and the nominee for communication. Are you in the business, your business, does it cover those 2 areas, or there's a particular reason?
It covers entire of all the nominated persons cut across board.
So what business do you do?
I'm a trader.
Trading in?
Yes, a trader.
You trade in?
Can you tell this committee how you trade in? What is business exactly do you do? Do you, or you don't want to? If you don't want to, no problem.
Okay, you see, we are doing this because we are just trying to establish who Mr. George is. Because on those, ever since they started the appointments committee, people are coming to support nominees, you see. But yours was peculiar, because on that day, you actually came to take part in the action. You were seen here, and then you were seen here, and then you were seen behind the table. You were all over the place. And that is why we are trying to know who you are. You could have been a security threat. You could have been just a visitor. You could have been just somebody who is curious, or like you said, a comrade. We are trying to understand you and your motive for moving from where you are sitting to the back here, crisscrossing the room. That is what we are trying to understand about you. What brought you here?
I'm here to witness the nominee. That is my reason of entry this room. Aside that, I have nothing else as a security threat to the committee.
Okay. All right.
Follow up. You have answered that question twice. I asked you and you answered that you were here as a spectator. Then you have just stated that you were here as a spectator, simple. But the video shows that you were not just here as a spectator. You have seen the video, and you know from the video that you were participating in the commotion. So you left the arena of being a spectator and you moved into one of participating in the commotion as recorded by the video. That's what we have seen. So we are coming there. Is that right?
Mr. Chairman.
You participated.
Mr. Chairman, I
participated in the commotion.
I participated to bring calmness. They started fighting. I was okay to bring calmness. Even now that the procedure is going on, when I see you are fighting among yourself, I will leave you and separate you. So put this on record.
Next one.
So we will not get to that point anyway. So we will not need your services. Thank you. So again, I'm asking this question again because of your movement. When we trace your movements in this room, it was a cause for concern. It was a cause for worry. And it's just an advice. And next time you come to the precinct of Parliament or any other place where it is the security, even though this is representative of the people, there are security measures that they put in place. And the next time you can find yourself on the foul end of the law, if you just, out of your own volition, when nobody has sent you. Because as you see, you have sat here for a few of the hearings. I've seen you. They have marshals. It is their duty to keep the security and the law and order in this place. Not you. I hope you understand. Comrade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Zaneto.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Mr. Poiku, when you came into the appointments committee room, where did you sit initially?
I was sleeping here. I was sleeping at the back there. I take a leave of a lady at the stream end there that I want to take a little nap. In process of that, I started hearing banging on the table. If you ask them, they can tell you. That's where I was sleeping.
Thank you.
I was virtually sleeping.
So, Mr. Honorable Chair, just so the record will reflect, he was pointing towards the public gallery as where he sat. So, just to clarify, you came in through the doors that are adjacent to where the leadership of the committee sits, and you walked past and sat in the public gallery. At which point did you cross over back to where the members of Parliament were?
It was a point when the chiefs started shouting, "What are you people doing? What is happening there?" They virtually started moving out. Then I stood up from there, where I was sitting from the gallery, and came here. when they started throwing the chairs, mature people standing up, taking chairs, throwing on the table.
Thank you, Mr. George. So, as the chiefs were exiting, you decided that you should move to where the commotion was happening?
No. I stood here for a while, and there was no amount of weight that can stop them. So I went there. I moved from there, and they said, "Oh, what are you people doing?" I know a few of them. I mentioned them, and I said, "What are you doing? Just take it easy." That's what happened.
But
I'm not the one.
That is the question I'm asking, and I'm looking for a response to my question. Per your response, you're confirming that you moved from the public gallery to where the members of parliament were located. Is that correct?
Where the riot was happening.
Kindly answer the question with a yes or a no. Can you confirm, per what you've just narrated, that you moved from the public gallery, which is where you were seated, to the side where the members of parliament were located and engaged in an exchange?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. And based on your moving to where the members of parliament were seated, what did you observe? Very simply, if you can just mention in very short sentences.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I saw a lot of the guys at the other side fighting each other and throwing table.
We don't have guys here. We have honorable members.
Honorable members. Because upon that time, I don't know who were there. Seriously, because I have no special tag to identify who is honorable, who is behaving the way they are behaving. So upon that time, I don't even see any tag. All I see is chaos or riot.
Thank you very much. So per your response, you are confirming that you could not distinguish who a member of parliament was from any other person as you moved to this side of the room, correct?
Yes, except the people I know personally.
Would you care to mention the ones you know personally?
Honorable Kojetu Ablakwa was sitting here, and then Honorable Gomashi, also the lady who was tapping her to take it easy. That is, and then Honorable Akando. That is the people, I know them by the names, but I don't have personal relationship with them.
Mr. Glory, you said you moved to this place because of the commotion which was going on. Where was the commotion taking place? There or here?
Mr. Chairman, I said that I moved there to bring calmness to the place, to bring salvage or to salvage the situation.
So, the question that she asked is that, do you know the people? Because you are saying that you don't know the people, and you are giving the impression that members of parliament were engaged in a scuffle, and you wanted to calm their nerves. Were you not aware that it was members of parliament who were seated at this side? Were you not aware? And you didn't know any one of them?
From what I've seen was chaos or riot that time. I don't know honorable person or that I saw riot in the house. So my duty or my civic duty is to bring calmness. That is what I have done.
Mr. Opeko, as you moved to this side of the room, were you aware of, first of all, were you aware that there were marshals in the room?
No, please.
Perhaps I should ask one question before that. Do you know who a marshal is?
I have no idea who Masha is.
Okay, perhaps we can give a definition since your lawyer is here, and then we can proceed with the next question. So as my colleagues are getting the definition so that you understand, in summary though, the marshal is responsible for keeping order. Yes. Yeah, so when you find it, I'll read it. Yes. On the
page 33, order 50. Order 50, rule 1. There shall be an officer of parliament called the marshal. 2. The marshal shall A. bear the mace before the speaker in procession into the chamber and recession after the adjournment. Attend upon the speaker in the house. Carry out directives of the speaker for the maintenance of order in the house. Carry out directive for the speaker for the maintenance of order in the house. That's C. Carry out directives of the speaker or the clerk for the maintenance of order within the precincts of parliament. D. E. Ensure the safety and security of I. members and officers of the house, and II. property and precincts of parliament. And F. Perform any other functions that may be assigned by the speaker or the clerk.
Thank you. Mr. Pegu, are you clear with what's been read so far?
I am clear, but I have something to say.
If I may finish my questions. Thank you. Given that in your previous response you have admitted to not knowing who the marshals are, but now I've given you context as to what their role is. In hindsight, would you still have moved from the public gallery, given the fact that now you know that there are marshals and this is the role they are meant to play?
Even that faithful day, you cannot identify who marshal was because they were overwhelmed. Because some of them, I think, I can't see.
If I may, Mr. George, it's only a question. If you don't have an opinion to offer on that, I can move on to the next question. Shall I move on because you don't have a response to that, please?
Move on.
Very well. Thank you. Were you close enough to the table that got broken on the day?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Do you recall whether you were actually part of the group that was holding the table, or were you beyond the boundaries of that specific table?
I was at the back of some group of people here.
On the table that was broken, is that correct?
No, behind the table.
Yes, you were behind those who were holding the table, is that?
No, I was behind the people who were holding the table.
So you were behind the people who were holding the table?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, was there any point in time that you also came in to hold the table?
A gentleman who opened the table and entered upon what sometimes difficult time, rushed from here, entered the table, was start shouting like so what is going to happen here is not going to be easy. Okay, he quickly jumped from this place to the middle of the table where the console started falling.
Can you identify that gentleman if we...
I think everybody says Jerry, Honorable
Okay.
Jerry Shaibu, yes. And so he was trying to lift up the table and hit on one of the, I don't know if it's a media person or a marshal. That is why I quickly went and held the table. Yes. To hold the table, not to collapse on the gentleman.
Okay, so maybe you would want to change your response, because the initial question I asked was whether you were close to the table. My second question was whether you touched the table. You said you did not touch the table initially, but you're confirming now that you were holding the table.
Yes, yes.
And just, may I continue?
Go ahead.
Just for the record, the table you're referring to is the one that was lifted and that lost its 2 legs, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me ask you whether you have any regret for the role you played on that very day.
As my civic duty, I did not regret of the way I was able to salvage some of the damages, or they should have done more harm to what is going on.
So that means, given the opportunity in future, you'll still do it.
Now that I know what is before me, I'll consult or I'll take proper invitation before coming to salvage the taxpayers' money.
I must be frank with you. The last time we met, the marshal, we encountered the marshal. He also admitted that at a point there was security lapse. But let me advise you, if you are not invited, please don't come in. Because to me, when we saw you, we were just finding out, is he, this man, a member of parliament? So we had to stop and say, no, he's not. So he's a stranger. So what was he doing here as a stranger? Even though you came in to salvage a situation, you were not invited. So that's uncalled for. So let me give you just simple advice. In future, in parliament, there are rules. So when you are not invited, please don't come in. That is not right, because it's a security threat, because we may not know who you are. Okay? Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I take your advice and thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Glory. You have admitted that you came in as a spectator. Before my question, let me just give you this analogy. We have a football match, and then we have got the players on the pitch, and we have got spectators who go into the stadium to watch the match. So there is confusion between the players on the pitch. You, the spectators, would you ask the spectators to go in there and try to resolve the matter? That's an answer from you.
Mr. Chairman, in future, I'll advise myself.
So, this body, this committee, is conducting this investigation. And part of the findings of the committee will be who are responsible for the damage that was caused. So you have admitted here that you participated in that exercise because you wanted, I say, you have admitted that you participated in the exercise, you can't deny it, but you did it with the intention of salvaging or saving property. That's what you are saying. So one thing, if the findings of the committee are to the effect that the people who were responsible for this thing, they will be surcharged with the cost. Are you prepared to be surcharged with the cost?
Mr. Chairman, the one who who restore calmness should be charged for the damage. Meanwhile, those who cause or who destroy the property
an answer to the question.
Please, can you repeat the answer?
I said those people who were involved, if they are being surcharged with the cost of the things, because you were seen and you have admitted here, listen to me, you were seen and you were admitted here that you were holding the table. That is an activity. You were holding the table. That's an activity. The table subsequently fell and the legs were broken. And so if all those people who were involved in that exercise are being surcharged with the cost of the breakages, are you prepared to be surcharged with that particular cost since you were involved?
No, because my involvement is to make more, to reduce the damage, but not to cause further damage. So I shouldn't be a part of surcharge, rather to praise my ability to restore calmness.
You want to be praised for your activity. You are a stranger here. You are not supposed to be here. But you want to be praised. Oh, okay.
Yes,
you didn't want to be a stranger. Oh? You didn't want to be a spectator. You became a citizen. That's what you did. But you did it at the wrong place and at the wrong time. So I will plead that possibly tell us something. Yeah. And next time, my humble advice, please don't do it.
Well, it is not for us to say you be surcharged or not. Ours is to find out those who were involved. So we are in the process. This committee will submit its report to Parliament, to the Speaker, and then it will be discussed at the plenary. And then the outcome of our finding will show either you have to be surcharged or not. We cannot determine whether you will be surcharged or not. But my colleagues will continue with the questioning.
My last question. Now, you came in as a spectator and decided on your own to assign yourself without any directive from the Marshal's Department, the people who are responsible for maintaining law and order within the presence of Parliament, without their directive, without their authority, and you decided to assign yourself to do what you did. Are you prepared to bear the consequences of your assignment?
Mr. Chairman, if the committee need to do something, rather to appreciate my effort as a civic responsibility to restore calm, because I didn't contribute to the program.
Mr. Opeku, I will humbly advise you to restrain yourself on the tangent you're moving on, because the rules of engagement in Parliament are clear, and you don't want to be held in contempt of any of that. This is not a witch hunt, but the reality is you infringed on certain rules with regards to your movement within this specific area. So I believe that in actual fact, when it comes to the issue of whatever the consequences will be, whatever they will be at the end of it, just like in a court of law, Parliament does have the right to place certain impositions with regards to sanctions. And in the same way as if you're asked to pay a fine when you go to court for something, if such a thing is the ruling of the committee, as a law-abiding citizen, you are not allowed to say you will not comply with it. And it's just a piece of advice in letting you perhaps avoid that tangent that you're going on with regards to your responses. Please.
Let me just advise, in addition to what Honorable Zaneto has, if you look at Order 38 of our standing orders, Order 38 and Order 39, 30 years is where Parliament determines that the stranger is guilty of contempt of Parliament or in breach of parliamentary privilege. Parliament may order that stranger not to enter the precinct of Parliament for a period of not exceeding 9 months, whether or not that period extends beyond the ends of the session. And then 39 says punishment of a stranger in contempt or breach. A stranger who is guilty of contempt of Parliament or in breach of parliamentary privilege is liable to a fine not exceeding 250 penalty units, or a term of imprisonment not exceeding 1 year, or to both. Where a person is committed to a term of imprisonment under Rule 1, the Speaker shall direct the Marshal to notify the Director General of the Ghana Prison Service to give effect to the decision of the House. I just want to avert your mind to the fact that this committee can recommend that you are a stranger and you were actively involved. So please be measured in what answers you give us. We are not witch hunting. We are only finding what has happened. And if it is to the effect that you were actively involved, whether you are protecting property or you are actively involved, for us, we are to determine those who are involved. So please be measured. My colleague says they don't have any questions for you, but I have a lot of questions for you. Mr. George Gloria Opeku, on that fateful day, the 30th of January, he decided to walk into the precinct of Parliament to witness the vetting of 2 honorable members who were nominated by the President of the Republic. You're on record to say that you were here not by the invitation of any of them, but by the fact that you heard that they were going to be vetted. That's why you came. I want you to confirm that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
You also told this committee that you were cleared by the security of this house, and then you came in through this door that was meant for the members of Parliament, and you went to the public gallery. You sat at the public gallery. You wanted to take a nap, and then when you heard a commotion, you woke up and moved to where the MPs were sitting. I want you to confirm that. Shall I repeat the question again?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
That when you came, you told this committee that you passed through this. You went to the public gallery where you sat. And then when you heard a commotion, you moved from the public gallery to the committee sitting area. And then from the committee sitting area, you got yourself involved in the activity here. I just want you to say, to agree or disagree with me.
Mr. Chairman, I am not aware that place is for MPs only, where the riot was taking place.
Okay.
Otherwise, I won't go there.
Good. So when you came, why were you not seated among the MPs or where the MPs were seated, but you were asked to go to the back or where the public gallery is?
There was no place to sit around.
So if there was a seat here, you'd have sat here, right?
No, I need to be ushered in to sit, not to sit by myself.
So you were ushered to sit at the public gallery. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
That means that that place has been clearly marked for the member, for the public. Is that correct?
I don't know.
So when you moved from the public gallery, and I want to use the word public gallery, to where the committee sitting area where the MPs were supposed to sit, and then you got yourself involved with the members of parliament, don't you think that you were endangering your own life?
Exactly so. Because I put my life on the line, which I learned a lot from it. It won't happen again.
We are here to meet as a committee to decide on what we've witnessed. But it is clear that you've admitted holding the chair at the table.
Mr. Chairman, when the chair was, the
table.
When they leave the table, want to hit the wall.
Do you want to watch the video again? Maybe you should watch the video. Can you show him the clip again?
I'm okay, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. George Glory Opeko, we want to thank you for attending upon this committee with your counsel. The committee will call upon you again, or Parliament will call upon you again when needed. Thank you so much. You are honorably discharged.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Colleagues, we want to take Honorable Collins Dauda Alaji. He will do affirmation. Honorable has to go and pray. But since he hasn't prayed, he will not touch the Quran. I think that is fair. So you just do affirmation. Please.
Mr. Chairman, before I do it, it's not that I'm here to pray, but before you touch the Holy Quran, you must have performed ablution. I haven't performed ablution as I stand here, so I can't touch it. Thank you very much.
So please.
I, Collins Dauda,
swear by Allah.
Swear by Allah.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me Allah.
So help me Allah.
Thank you, Senior or Distinguished Honorable Collins Alaji Dauda, for attending upon this committee to give a witness account of what happened on the 30th of January 2025. We saw a gentleman in a white dress, jalabia, and you also watched the video. Can you confirm whether that is Honorable Alaji Collins Dauda?
I came into the meeting room that day. So I was here.
Thank you very much. Can you tell this committee what you witnessed on that day?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, that day the minister designate for Ahaf region was billed to take her turn at the vetting committee. And I came in. It was late, so I was wondering whether I should be taken or not. So I came in to get a confirmation from the chairman of the committee whether she will be taken. Only to find that the place was in disarray. There was confusion. In fact, the tables had been turned upside down. Some tables have been turned upside down. Some chairs thrown on the tables. And the gadgets here broken. But the place was in a mess. And whilst the NDC members were insisting that proceedings should continue, the MPP side also insisted that proceedings must be brought to an end. Proceedings shouldn't continue. I said, why must somebody cause this confusion and still benefit from the confusion? It's wrong. And so I was supporting those who were of the view that the vetting should continue.
That was what you witnessed.
That's what
18th of December 2024, the then President-elect, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, announced this oral preparatory team. The members of the team include the eminent former Auditor General, Mr. Daniel Yaw-Domlevo, COP retired Nathaniel Kofi Boache, lawyer Martin Kwebu, a private legal practitioner, and Mr. Raymond Archer, the ACE investigative journalist. I was tasked to be their chief servant of the preparatory team. We swung into immediate action. We set up channels of communication consistent with the mandate that the president-elect at the time gave us. So we set up a toll-free line, 0800 900 111. We established a website, www.oralgh.org, an email address, public@oralgh.org. Her Excellency the Vice President was also generous to offer us her conference room as our secretariat. So that served as our secretariat. So we didn't have to pay rent for our meetings. We also want to use this opportunity to thank the young Ghanaians who volunteered, because every Ghanaian is passionate about the success of oral. IT experts volunteered to set up this platform for us free of charge. So the toll-free lines, the websites, these are patriotic Ghanaians who did not demand any compensation from us. And we want to convey the appreciation
the other side, the minority that says that they were not going to allow the vetting to continue. When you came in and there was commotion, did you talk to them?
At that point, I realized that there was a determination on their side not to proceed. They were not ready at all, because at some point, when some members tried to rearrange the chairs here, they were obstructing them. And the member of parliament for Koforidua, he won't allow anybody even to touch the table by way of rearranging the place for the vetting to go on.
Is that the Honorable Michael Ochiri Befi?
I don't know the name too well, but I know he's the MP for
So Koforidua. Can you identify him? Oh, where is it? Maybe in the video? We just want to be sure. For the record, we want you to show us, tell us who that person. Okay, so that is Honorable Befi. Okay, my colleagues have one questions for you.
No supplementary. Alaji, you are a senior member of this house, and since the events of 30th and 31st January, you have heard all kinds of commentary about the events. What is your advice? Or for that matter, what recommendations would you want to make to us regarding the events of 30th and 31st?
In order that this situation will not occur again,
release the information to National Security Committee. So media, please get it clear. We are not saying that we, Team Oral, physically went to prevent demolition of bungalows. No, that was not part of our mandate. We were only to receive complaints. But as responsible, conscientious citizens, it will be irresponsible to receive the complaints and just allow those bungalows to be demolished. So immediately, National Security is informed, and then they act. So please ignore all of those barrage of unfair and baseless attacks that Oral has suffered. We did not carry out any fiscal operation on the ground. We only report to National Security, and then they act. We also collaborated with National Security to save the Northern Development Authority lands at cantonments. A private developer overnight on the eve of the president's inauguration moved in overnight to erect a wall, divided the property into half. Some of you are conversant with that land. It's just opposite the U.S. Embassy, very prime land. That is where the Constitution Review Commission used to sit under Dr. Raymond Atuguba. It was allocated to the Northern Development Authority, and these private developers claim that it now belongs to them. But the staff of NDA called us, and we promptly called National Security, and they moved in. So we were able to save that land. National Security has since demolished the wall, and so the land is safe for the Ghanaian people. We also collaborated with National Security to halt state asset takeovers across the country. You'll see from the report that we have videos and pictures of vehicles whose number plates were being changed, and so that they will virtually steal them for private use. Again, acting on those tip-offs, national security moved in quickly and were able to save a good number, hundreds of these vehicles. Again, the list is provided in the report. There was also a clash at the Du Bois Center. We received a distress call that a private foundation was taking over. We immediately called national security. And so what we have done now is to ask that the factions should meet and the new Minister for Tourism should resolve the matters. Again, if oral had not been established, only God knows what would have happened at the Du Bois Center. Number 6, we have also saved large portions of the agric mechanization lands at cantonments. Those of you who are conversant with that land opposite the Elwak Sports Stadium, all of it had been allocated. But fortunately, when ORA was established, the Association of Vegetable Producers and Exporters reached out to us that that's where they used to operate. Large portions of their facilities had been demolished, but their cold room was on the verge of being demolished. And so we called national security, they moved in, and we have been able to save large portions. Only
should not be encouraged. But if
the land has seen some development. Politically exposed persons are building hurriedly, but at least 80% has been preserved, and it is for the president to advise on what will happen because the documentation we have is that all of that land has been sold. And the sad part is that you'll see from the report, some people, prime cantonments land, paid as low as 42,000 cedis. 42,000 cedis for a plot of land. Some 160,000 cedis. And these government officials, MPs, ministers of state. So it was really just a giveaway. I'm sure the president and his advisors will decide on what to do with the rest of the land. Then we also collaborated with national security to halt the attempted demolition of staff quarters belonging to the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board. That is at the Osu-Kuku Hill. That had also been sold, but thanks to our intervention, at least the demolition has been halted. The president and his advisors will decide what should happen to the staff quarters of the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board. Then we take the view that this oral preparatory team concept offered a more structured and peaceful, non-confrontational channel for citizens to address concerns on the looting of state assets. Imagine what would have happened. We are all aware that transitions in Ghana tend sometimes to be acrimonious and even can degenerate into violence. So if Team Oral had not been established for people to have a formal channel to communicate their concerns, and they decided to take the law into their own hands, imagine what would have happened. So instead of the president being bastardized by a few people, I must say, the vast majority of Ghanaians welcome oral and have commended the president, but a few people who are, raving and ranting, it's clear that this has really helped to ease tensions and to offer Ghanaians who are really coming face to face with looting to report. Number 9, Oral also created a platform for persons of interest to reach out, seeking an opportunity to refund and return what belongs to the Ghanaian people. Quite a number of persons of interest have reached out that they are willing, whether plea bargain or whatever approach, to just have their peace and return, or probably pay the real value for the land that has been given to them. So all of that is contained in the detailed report, and the president and his legal advisors will take a decision on the way forward. Finally, President Mohammed's oral initiative has also attracted phenomenal local and international requests for forensic collaboration to recover the loot hidden offshore. We have received a number of international requests to support this initiative of the president in terms of forensics and to help in offshore retrievals, and all of that is documented in the report. this for the president to decide on the nature of these collaborations. Some of them have said that it will not cost us anything. They may just ask for a little percentage of success recoveries, but I'm sure the President, the Attorney General will advise on that moving forward. We want to conclude with some fascinating figures. The 36 cases that we have reviewed in detail, if we are successful in recoveries, we can retrieve as much as 20.49 billion United States dollars. 20.49 billion United States dollars. 36 cases, and that's from National Cathedral, PDS, SML. You have the GMPC salt pond decommissioning, and we decided that in this open session we will not go into greater detail, and so I want to be restrained. But there's a great deal of resources belonging to the taxpayers that can be retrieved. Then we've also done an estimate of the state capture, the lands. If we successfully ask people to pay conservative market value for the lands they have looted, again, the experts are telling us that we can recover about 702.8 million United States dollars for the Ghanaian people. That's if we just ask people, those who were paying 42,000 cedis, 120,000 cedis, 160,000 cedis, to pay the fair market value. Those are lands that $500,000, $600,000, you will even struggle to get cantonments land at that figure. So very conservative estimates. We take the view that if people are asked to pay the real market value, this is how much we can retrieve. So in all, just a summary, the 36 cases, the high amount cases that we put together, and then the land loot, potentially we can raise about 21.19 billion United States dollars. And that is far more than what we have been chasing the IMF for and subjecting ourselves to all kinds of conditionalities. So we want to renew our appreciation and deep gratitude to His Excellency the President and his team of advisors for this initiative, which has really served Ghana well. And we look forward to the next phase. Even if we will not be involved, we will be very successful when the next phase really conducts retrievals and is successful in making sure that we are able to return to the national kitty resources that belong to the Ghanaian people. We thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Foreign Minister and former Chair of the Oral Preparatory Team. At this stage, I will call on you to do a formal handing over of the report to His Excellency, after which we will take some remarks from him.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. I will now invite the Attorney General to receive the documents. To receive the documents formally from His Excellency the President. This symbolizes the next phase of Operation Recover All Loot. So His Excellency will now take the floor and make a few remarks.
Let me proceed on existing protocol and acknowledge all of you, especially members of the oral team. It is with great solemnity and a deep sense of duty that I receive this comprehensive report of Operation Recover All the Loot, an initiative that represents an unwavering commitment to the fight against corruption, financial malfeasance, and the misappropriation of public resources. From the onset of my administration, I made it clear that Ghana's resources belong to the people of Ghana and must be used judicially for their collective good. The diversion of public funds for personal gain undermines development, it erodes public trust, and deepens inequality. It is for this reason that Operation Recover All the Loot was launched, to ensure that what had been wrongfully taken from the state is restored to its rightful owners, the Ghanaian people. I therefore wish to commend the members of this team for their dedication and professionalism in carrying out this vital national assignment without compensation, without expectation of any remuneration. The meticulous investigations, legal actions, and asset recoveries reflected in this report are a testament to the seriousness with which this government approaches the issue of accountability and good governance. The findings of this report make for sober reading. They reveal the scale of financial leakages that have cost our nation dearly. Resources that should have been invested in education, healthcare, infrastructure, and social development. But they also offer hope that through our collective efforts, we can reclaim what is ours and deter future acts of economic sabotage. As we receive this report, let me assure the Ghanaian people that the work does not end here. The recommendations of the report will be carefully studied, and where legal action and investigations are warranted, they will be pursued without fear or favor. Every peso recovered will be channeled back into national development, and mechanisms will be strengthened to prevent such losses in the future. I have promptly handed over the report to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and I give him firm instructions to commence immediate investigations into the cases reported in here with a view to prosecuting anyone found liable for corruption or related offenses. To those who think they can defraud the state and escape justice, let this serve as a strong warning. Ghana is no longer a safe haven for corruption. To those who stand for integrity, accountability, and the rule of law, I assure you that this government remains your steadfast partner in building a nation where honesty and hard work are rewarded. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a defining moment in our fight against corruption. We must all play our parts, citizens, civil society, the media, and public officials alike. Together, we will build a Ghana that is just, transparent, and prosperous for generations to come. I thank you, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. At this stage, I would kindly ask the media to give us the room, so to speak, for some further discussion.
Not receive any indication from him.